Wang was always a quiet student, and everyone around him thought he was nothing but a waste of space. But no one knew his father had sealed his real powers so he wouldn't accidentally destroy the world. He never had any friends or love, and the one girl he actually liked was killed right in front of his eyes. That moment shattered him, his seal broke, and he awakened the forbidden power of a god that could destroy the entire world. Yet, his only concern was his beloved ramen. So, when a massive frog attacked his city and caused him to drop his noodles, Wang instantly annihilated the S-rank calamity with a single blow, all while concealing his powers to seem normal. On his first day of school, as he arrives, a group of older, disgusting-looking students approaches him, demanding protection money. Before they can cause trouble, the school's top hottest student, Sun Rong, steps in and defends him with confidence. Impressed and slightly embarrassed, Wang Ling thanks her and even offers the money as a polite gesture, saying his worthless face wasn't worthy of friendship. Before walking away, trying to avoid attention. Soon after, the school holds its opening ceremony and announces the entrance test to measure each freshman's spiritual force. The top scorers will earn a place in the elite class. On the massive screen, Juyi, the ugly hero, reappears as a projection to explain the test. Each student must strike the spiritual manifestation of the giant frog, the same creature that once terrorized Huaxu. One by one, students step up to face the test. The first is Xuanku. He uses his full useless body force, earning a low score of 404. Next comes Chen Ko. This worthless moron uses his fire-based power to land a strong blow and earns a score of 938, securing his spot in the elite class. Unknown to most, the real giant frog remains sealed beneath the academy, absorbing small traces of energy from every strike. Sun Rong then steps forward, unleashing a graceful but powerful attack that scores an impressive 2019, earning cheers from the audience. However, beneath the ground, the true giant-ass frog continues to absorb spiritual power, slowly regaining strength. When it's Wang Ling's turn, he simply walks up, calm and emotionless. He doesn't intend to reveal his true power and mentally aims for a modest score. But as soon as he channels his energy, the giant frog immediately senses the same terrifyingly familiar energy that destroyed his ugly ass once. Before Wang Ling even lands his strike, the monster explodes from the overwhelming pressure. The testing screen can't even display his score, as the numbers race into an endless stream of nines. While this useless fatso mourns the loss of his test frog, the crowd speculates that Sun Rong must have weakened it first. Wang Ling says nothing, pretending not to notice, but despite his efforts to stay unnoticed, he's automatically placed into the elite class due to his record-breaking result. Later, the elite class gathers for their first lesson, summoning spells. The instructor explains that the strength of a summoned spirit depends entirely on one's spiritual force. One by one, students attempt to summon their spiritual bodies, with most failing spectacularly.
Appear now!
Sun Rong is the first to succeed, conjuring a skeletal creature that barely holds together. Then, it's Wang Ling's turn. Without effort, he summons the same giant frog, and the frog wondered why the fuck his ugly ass was there again. Shocked, the instructor quickly transforms it into a harmless green dog to prevent suspicion. The students are amazed and begin to fawn over the cute creature, while Sun Rong affectionately names it Froggy 2. Meanwhile, Wang Ling slips away quietly, wishing for nothing more than an ordinary school life, though fate clearly has other plans for him. Before all this, on the day Wang Ling was born, he makes his grand entrance literally by crawling out of his mother's womb like a Giga Chad. As a baby in his crib, his useless father presents him with a limited edition dragon slaughtering sword. Born with the ability to hear people's thoughts, he immediately senses the true emotions behind his parents' smiles. Hearing his mother and father continuously lie to each other, so to save himself from all the arguments and save his parents' marriage, he thought of all the billion possibilities and pisses in front of them. Years pass, and at age 6, Wang gains so much power that he destroys the calamity-ranked monsters like nothing. So his parents decide that his low-profile life must continue. His father begins working on special amulets to seal his power. Wang Ling's strength continues to leak, shattering bowls with a touch, while his mother insists that he take a daily golden pill to suppress his powers. His parents recall the chaos his powers have caused over the years, from burning down the house with birthday candles at age 7 to blowing his friends out of their clothes at 10. Despite these accidents, the golden pill has kept him stable so far. Fed up with his parents' endless debate, he sneaks out of the house, determined to live as normally as possible. At school, preparations begin for the class president elections. The two main contenders are Chen Ko and Sun Rong, while Wang Ling tries to slip away until he notices a sale on his favorite ramen. Unfortunately, one of Sun Rong's assistants buys out all the ramen to give away as election bribes. When Sun Rong appears, glowing with charm and confidence, she argues with Teen Chen about fairness. In the chaos, Wang Ling casually bids 5 votes in exchange for 5 packs of noodles. Other students point out that he only has 1 vote, so Sun Rong decides to give the ramen away for free, secretly using a charm to sway the crowd's hearts. Everyone quickly falls under her spell except Wang Ling. While leaving, he discreetly drops one of his golden pills as a token to balance the exchange, unaware that Sun Rong will later misunderstand his gesture. In the next class, the students study the ancient art of confinement, essentially a lesson in using incantations to charm or control others. Sun Rong quickly realizes that her earlier voting trick was the same spell being discussed. Wang Ling notices too and breathes a sigh of relief. At least now things are even. Being immune to charm techniques, he simply watches as the instructor explains. Hoping to check if she received his golden pill, he subtly signals toward her. But Sun Rong completely misreads his gesture. Convinced that Wang Ling is staring at her because he likes her and believing the pill he gave her must be a power booster, she takes it thinking it's Wang Ball. Unfortunately, the pill doesn't increase power, it suppresses it. Her energy suddenly collapses, and just as the professor calls her up to demonstrate the spell, she stumbles and falls backward. Wang Ling, trying to be a Giga Chad, catches her mid-fall but drops her ugly ass second later when asked to recite the incantation. With a single command, he effortlessly lifts the spell, affecting the entire class. Later, the class election results are announced and Chen Ko, the ugly, disgusting waste of space, wins. Meanwhile, the professor calls Zhu Yi to report what he's witnessed. Wang Ling broke a complex incantation with ease, after hearing it only once. Sun Rong can't stop thinking about Wang Ling's ball. She's torn between admiration and curiosity, wondering if this quiet, mysterious boy truly wants to clap her, or if there's something far deeper behind. At school, the next day students bring furnaces for a practical on refining vitality pills. Chen Ko brings his family's ancient fire furnace. Sun Rong makes a grand fucking entrance. She walks right past Chen Ko, ignoring his useless ass, and calls out for Wang Ling. Completely unaware of the attention, Wang Ling notices what seems to be a magical spell mark above her head, one that he mistakes for a sign of affection. As he steps closer, brushes his hand against her hair, proving he is the true protagonist of this anime. Calmly, he reassures her it's nothing serious and walks away. Chen Ko's heart sinks because his worthless, disgusting life wasn't even wanted by any girl. In the lab, where instructor Shenkong Pan swiftly demonstrates the steps of refining vitality pills, each student begins working with their equipment. Chen Ko proudly unveils his family's antique fire furnace, while Sun Rong uses a sleek model from her family's factory. Guo Hao reveals his high-tech personal furnace, and Wang Ling, as always, uses nothing more than a microwave. As the students concentrate, Chen Ko's furnace suddenly explodes. Panicked, he flees the lab, shouting that his father will kill him for destroying the treasured family heirloom. Instructor Pan sets a timer for 7 hours of refining time and dismisses the class. After Froggy Twos comes in the lab and tries swallowing Guo Hao furnace, Wang Ling appears, instantly realizing Froggy's plan. He catches up in a blink, snatching the furnace from Froggy's mouth before it's too late. Meanwhile, Chen Ko, racked with guilt, runs laps outside, replaying his father's words about the sacred family cauldron. As he runs, he envisions Sun Rong cheering him on, but the illusion crumbles into a nightmare where his classmates mock him for being a disgusting, useless loser, and Wang Ling takes his crush. Confused and emotional, he continues running aimlessly, determined to fix his mistake. Wang Ling washes the furnace clean when Guo Hao walks in and catches him red-handed. Before Wang Ling can explain, Guo Hao draws a gun-like tool, accusing him of stealing. Wang Ling tries to tell the truth that Froggy 2 was the culprit, but Guo Hao isn't buying it. Guo Hao fires a shot of purple liquid, but Wang Ling dodges effortlessly, and the sticky liquid lands straight in Chen Ko's mouth. Within seconds, Chen Ko collapses. Worried they'll get caught, he forces Wang Ling to help carry Chen Ko into the lab. By this time, Chen Ko has turned a lovely shade of purple from pentatoxic potion, which is meant for external use only. Guo Hao believes they only have 4 hours before he's in grave danger, but Wang Ling notes it isn't that bad. Guo Hao insists on creating a cure and sends Wang Ling to collect the ingredients while he magnanimously directs. Once mixed, the pills need 4 hours to refine. Guo Hao panics as the class will return in 2. While he carries on, Froggy 2 returns to grab the furnace. As Guo Hao stops him, they realize that Froggy has the power to fast-forward timelines. They force him to speed up the antidote. Now ready, they test a pill on Froggy to success, then administer it to Chen Ko, who needs to sleep off the purple. Guo Hao tries to stall the class while Wang Ling tidies up the mission. Entering, the instructor walks straight to Guo Hao's furnace and finds a decent-looking golden pill. Then she checks Wang Ling's not very pill-like creation. Guo Hao presumes that Wang Ling switched the pills to help him and took the scolding himself, making Wang Ling a worthy friend for life. But that's not what happened. Guo Hao's vitality pill cooked along with the antidote, while Wang Ling's pill simply failed in the microwave. Chen Ko, meanwhile, slumbers inside his cauldron. He wakes on the sports field with Guo Hao and Wang Ling, and they fudge that he'd passed out from running. He suddenly remembers the cauldron, but the guys have already repaired it for him. Chen Ko cries his apologies to Wang Ling. Fireworks burst forth as the story continues in the classroom, where the scent of hormones fills the air as Sun Rong approaches her prey, the naive Wang Ling. Outside, masked hitmen train their scope on Sun Rong. Oblivious, she straightforwardly asks Wang Ling on a date as the hitmen receive the kill order. Wang Ling appears to spot them, and the shooter feels an unknown presence, missing his shot. Sun Rong shouts her request for Wang Ling to date her to titters among the class. The assassin takes aim again as the school administrator enters to ask for Wang Ling's presence. He takes them out and shouts yes in response. But Sun Rong receives it as a yes to her as he makes his escape. The hitmen decide to follow Sun Rong to the next potential position as they devise someone powerful is on campus. Froggy 2 eyes them from the rooftop while on the ground. Social media explodes with the breaking news of Sun Rong and Force Value 5 dating to a mix of student reactions. Wang Ling is taken to see the joint honorary master immortal of the school, none other than Zhu Yi. Once in private, Zhu Yi aims to confirm that Wang Ling is the same boy who defeated Giant Frog with one kick. He bows to his knees, saying he'd been seeking him since then. Wang Ling applies the 50% trick of forgetting as his 100% version is too powerful and could endanger the recipient. On his way back to class, Froggy 2 informs him about the assassins. That night, Wang Ling has a terrifying dream about Sun Rong asking him on a date. He wakes with a start in his bunny PJs to find Sun Rong waiting outside. He's nearly sure his parents will insist he focus on his studies, but they're all for the date, landing encouragements. Wang Ling finds posts about the date all over social media, led by Sun Rong. She waits outside in a limo with piles of security. As the media paps them heading off on the date, he begins to hope the hitmen show up. Luckily, they follow, aiming to find an opportunity and a clear shot. The convoy of limos heads to Heavenly Paradise, an amusement park owned by the Sun family. Sun Rong teases Wang Ling along the way. Upon arrival, she releases security, saying her friend will take care of her. Only, they follow anyway. As the kids check out the park, the hitmen clear the obstacles, getting ever closer. They take a shot, but Wang Ling stops the bullet with his teeth and spits it back at them. Sun Rong mistakes the move for Wang Ling smiling at her. He quickly uses his 50% memory erase trick. They continue through the park, pursuers in pursuit, with Wang Ling foiling them and Sun Rong completely clueless. While the gunmen complain about the gymnastics they must perform, Wang Ling imagines a bit of quiet on the Ferris wheel. As the shooters follow, Zhu Yi spots them and calls in a team. The criminals climb up into their car and Wang Ling gets a moment of relief from Sun Rong. She bravely moves to protect Wang Ling as the immortals fly in to assist. Wang Ling flicks his finger to send the gunman flying, then seals Sun Rong's memories of the day's events. But Zhu Yi observes Wang Ling's power. The rabbit-faced assassins get their comeuppance from the leader of the Shadow faction as new members of the gang are deployed. The social faction leader tracks Sun Rong and eyes her following Wang Ling, but like most, believes he's harmless. Guo Hao and Chen Kao are keen to hear about Wang Ling's date and notice Sun Rong's gaggle of bodyguards. Administrator Wang admits they're there to protect against the previous day's assassins, but Sun Rong hadn't noticed any. Zhu Yi steps in to claim he stopped them before she could notice, as instructed by Wang Ling on scene. The spying social faction leader hears it was Zhu Yi who stopped her team. Zhuo Yi explains the operation, protect Sun Rong. He has several teams on standby, including 7-star squad guarding from the air. One master assassin, Zhu Feng of Shadow Stream, manages to get into the school, killing guards with chicken hammers as he goes. Gathered in the office for safety, Zhu Yi spots him on camera and stops him. The kids hardly react as they're attached to their phones, spilling the detail in group chats. On social, Chen Kao and Sun Rong both claim they'll protect Wang Ling as the administrator reminds them to keep it on the down low. The next assassin, Zhu Ying, knocks out the Golden Pill elite guards with a toxic gas, but Administrator Wang gets to him. The third assassin, Zhu Jian, finds his way in as the others distract the protectors. Zhu Yi keeps watch on screen. Administrator Wang is able to avoid Zhu Ying's traps, but as Zhu Ying escapes and sprints towards the office, it's Wang Ling who knocks him out by simply opening the door. In the yard, Zhu Feng defeats the team, but has his essence secretly taken by Froggy too. This, of course, allows him to turn back into Giant Frog, at least in his head. Assassin Zhu Jian, cloaked in invisibility, prepares to fight as Wang Ling walks past him to receive a delivery. The Immortals first scan it for trouble. As this is happening around him, Zhu Jian thinks he's in the clear, but Wang Ling confirms he knows he's there and that he's accidentally knocked out his friend. Uh-oh. Zhu Jian hits him with his now fully charged hammer, but it lands Wang Ling like an egg on a rock, completely backfiring. Wang Ling crunches his dry noodles as he drags Zhu Jian away. He then uses 50% on Zhu Yi, instructing him to say it was he who defeated the fighter. The kids find Zhu Yi with a knocked-out Wang Ling, as the news reports another defeat for the assassins. Wang Ling's house finds him recovering from pretending to be injured. Flashback to Sun Rong in full panic on the scene. So worried is she. She sends a healing chamber to Wang Ling's house, where he's then encased. The all-immersion experience automatically showers him with medicine on the hour. His mother notes that after more than 10 days, it's time for him to get back to school. On cue, his friends show up with school-approved get-well gifts and assorted farm animals. Guo Hao introduces his pet birdie too, a parrot that sees the funny side of Wang Ling's multi-humped tomb. It could be worse. As Mrs. Wang serves snacks, Sun Rong takes the opportunity to get on the good side of her future potential mother-in-law. She gifts elixirs and nutrition pills from her family. Excited by the offering, Mrs. Wang leaves her son to mercy of Sun Rong, who wants to inject him with a huge needle to aid recovery. The guys observe the change in Sun Rong since Wang Ling's injury, noting she'd called in the family helicopter to rescue him. But back to the giant chicken blood needle, the process that goes with it has one cultivator fusing his spiritual power into the other. Before she can jab him, Chen Kao remembers he's got a wristband from Administrator Wang for Wang Ling to use in the annual spiritual power test. Sun Rong objects as it will sap his still recuperating spiritual power. To avoid the injection and the crazy look in Sun Rong's eye, Wang Ling suddenly claims to feel better. The four demonstrate their power with the wristband measuring output. Chen Kao explains how it's different from the entrance test, as it gauges the force created outside one's body. There's an odd visual of Chen Kao spying on someone using his power in the shower. Moving swiftly on this is how cultivator power can truly be measured. Across the country, students try their might competing for greater cultivation, while Wang Ling attempts to hide his light under a basket. At Songhai School 59, Liang Zheng tries his luck measuring his power to a laughable 1950 among his peers. Leader Tang Jing's goes next, weighing in at 4,379 with a whoosh felt by the whole room. He may have even broken Zhu Yi's record set 10 years previously. Meanwhile, in Wang Ling's room, his Song High School 60 classmates have a go. Guo Hao scores a measly 176 to his embarrassment. Chen Ko drags him from the window. As Sun Rong worries about the potential collateral damage of her power, Guo Hao and Chen Ko give their assessment Dragon Ball Z style. But they're wrong. With House shaking power, Sun Rong scores 4th and 15, making her second in the league tables. School 59 doesn't take the intrusion into their shutout lightly. The guys chuckle as Wang Ling gears up for his attempt. Even though he hasn't prepared, he thinks he can hit it lightly without causing too much disruption. Sun Rong offers him a boost with the chicken blood potion, but he quickly declines. As his force shoots up, Wang Ling calmly changes tack, deciding to overload the system instead of trying to stay under. As he works out where to disperse the energy, we catch a glimpse of a sun-sized sphere. The rest ponder how Wang Ling can get a null on the test. Unfortunately, Wang Ling rises to the top of the rankings. School 59 wonders about the null score too, but presume it's a computer glitch. Wang Ling is surprised the wristband detected his sphere from outer space. The guys ask Wang Ling when he'll show them his true power, but they can't stop themselves from laughing, so no danger there. Sun Rong doesn't find the situation funny. As they take their leave, Guo Hao mumbles about hacking into the system to edit his score. Later at Guo Hao's house, Wang Ling asks him to work some tech magic on the Cultivation Council School League system. Similar hacking at School 59 is also taking place. They search for Wang Ling's true score, but to no avail. Guo Hao's clumsy thumbs alert the system, and everyone heads for the hills before detection. But before he exits, while Guo Hao doesn't manage to change Wang Ling's score, he does add his parrot to the rankings. To guffaws from his classmates, Birdie 2 replaces School 59's top-ranking Liang Zheng. That doesn't go down too well. Wang Ling's teacher is shocked how could he have ranked first on the national test. Another bid for a system malfunction set School 60 up to compete with School 59 in the first round of the tournament. It was Sun Rong and Wang Ling's combined scores that raised the average, putting them head-to-head with 59. They've consistently beaten 60 over the last 100 years and only drawn once in the year Zhu Yi competed. Zhu Yi comments that they may have a surprising result. The school leaders discuss their team and wonder who Tang Birdie 2 from 59 could be. News coverage shows School 59 in preparations for battle. Their training field is no joke, on par with professional standards. Meanwhile, Tang Jing's now publicly known as Birdie 2 musters enough pride to challenge Sun Rong and wish Wang Ling luck via TV interview. While classmates at School 60 sitting at the next table over ask each other if they've heard of Wang Ling. Miss Pan objects to the team being all freshmen and level 1, particularly as Sun Rong is the only one with any talent. But Zhu Yi convinces her with the full force of his sparkly charm, and somehow adds Froggy 2 to the team as well. With the possibility of having his seal removed, Froggy 2 achieves the required score on the test, a hefty 5,000. He joins Team 60, causing a stir over at 59. With another score landing above his, an unhappy Tang Jings is even more infuriated to see that it's a dog. It certainly amuses his classmates. While Zhu Yi snacks on a Baki, they plan to let the team know they've been selected via a WeChat group. Everyone heads home to their chosen relaxed time activities. Wang Ling reads The Chosen One in the Cultivation World, the web novel of this anime. The team is assigned to the National Senior Phase Sword Competition by Administrator Wang. In response, they instantly get set up with their spiritual swords, proudly displaying photos on the chat, even Froggy 2. The exception, of course, is Wang Ling. While we wait, Administrator Wang helpfully explains how spiritual swords are born, noting that they're a living form that evolves. They press Wang Ling to see if he even has a sword. His one-word reply is yes. Back at School 59, Tang Jings tells the teacher that Man will be the 5th member of their team. He assures that with him on side, they'll win. Later, ruffian He Bufeng beats up the students who invite him to the competition. But he's curious enough to wonder who they need him to defeat. The chat buzzes with everyone asking about Wang Ling's spiritual sword. He lets out a groan thinking about the panic it would cause if his true power were revealed at the games. Conversely, he feels the pressure of how seriously everyone else is taking the match, so figures there wouldn't be much harm in just showing it. He checks in with his parents on where the sword might be stored. They're watching a news report on an explosion with notes of caution around putting artifacts with a high concentration of spiritual force near a spiritual seal. It looks like the rabbit heads may have been involved as the immortals swoop in to right the wrongs. On screen, Juyi gives an interview assuring that he can defeat Shadow Stream faction just as he has previously. Their leader doesn't take his claim well. Wang Ling goes digging in the attic for his sword. As he opens the box, Administrator Wang texts to confirm a competition site visit for the following day. Meanwhile, his boy-shaped sword spirit rises from its box and notes that it's been 10 years. Immediately, Wang Ling recloses the box and his talisman flickers. The next day, Wang Ling shows the team his measly spiritual sword. They chuckle, saying even a child's sword wouldn't be that tiny. Sun Rong declares it cute, sending Chen KO to tears as he loses another round. Only Froggy 2 spots the sword's power level. Their instructors arrive to collect everyone. Administrator Wang notices that Wang Ling hasn't brought a bag like the rest. As he scratches his back with his teeny sword, it becomes clear he has no intention of actually competing. As Wang Ling pictures the stomach ache he plans to fake, Chen KO offers a spare pair of Y-fronts. The team boards the bus, just an immortal arrives to update Juyi. But he finishes in time to wave off his master, who immediately closes the curtain. The team informs Juyi about the capture of the Shadow Stream faction leader. It's not the real leader, but a bomb set to explode in front of Juyi. At least that's what she imagines as she watches his students set off. As her driver follows the bus, she shares her plan to get rid of Juyi. She notes her primary target, Sun Rong, will be helpless without him. On the bus, Wang Ling's sword awakens, but he continues to suppress it. He reminds it that they'd agreed the previous evening that it would be too much for the other kids to see. Had he bribed it with raccoon ramen? School 60 rolls out a rather subdued welcome for their arrival. Their instructor Zai and Miss Pan have a history and are now sworn enemies. Miss Pan is quick to rub Sun Rong in her face, as 60 had tried to talent recruit her. Then Pan talks of another 60 students' misdeeds for the final nail. While all this is happening, Wang Ling is trying to find the right moment to fake an illness. Conveniently, Instructor Zai pinpoints him with her power to check his level, but he turns it into the opportunity he'd been seeking. As everyone fusses over Wang Ling, the faction leader spots her open. While he's lying on the ground, Wang Ling's sword spirit appears to tell him his talisman is about to break. It explodes with force and Froggy suddenly recognizes that background music again. Faction leader realizes there's some power about, and at home, Wang Ling's mother notes her eyelids have been twitching. However, they put it down to resonance. Sword spirit resonance did set off Wang Ling's spiritual force suppression talisman, helped along by Instructor Zai's zap. Spiritual sword notes that he had been trying to update Wang Ling on the bus. Wang Ling is in need of a spirit-suppressing golden elixir stat, as he's entered a state of imbalance. Sun Rong cradles him in her arms while Pan accuses Zai, and Zai turns on Tang Jings, who thinks perhaps it's that guy. Faction leader receives the news that her exploding dummy plan failed. Yet, she still manages a chuckle about how worried Sun Rong is over Wang Ling, giving her a new idea. Even with hiccups, Wang Ling's plan to avoid competing has actually been a success. Wang Ling lies stretcher-bound as he's carried away by School 59's medical staff. Tang Jings thinks that Guy, He Bufong, has something to do with it. Sun Rong tries to follow Wang Ling to the infirmary, but Tang Jings stops her to reintroduce himself, since they'd taken study classes together. Of course, she's not in the mood for chatting after what happened to her Wang Ling. She winds up to hit him, but Student Council Secretary Isabel blocks the punch. Chen Ko runs in to support Sun Rong, but other members of the 59 team block him. Before they come to blows, Tang Jings guarantees Wang Ling's safety on their campus. No sooner has he gestured toward Wang Ling, the stretcher is suddenly engulfed in purple flame. Instructor Zai quickly reacts, wrapping Wang Ling in bandages to protect him. Tang Jings claims it must be Kai deviation making him unstable and presumably flammable. Sun Rong takes offense for him and draws her spiritual sword. But before she can use it, Administrator Wang steps in. Tang Jings is given the nod to apologize, and they all head in for the tour. From the rooftop, He Bufong appears to have a handful of purple flames. In the infirmary, the medics find an empty shroud. Wang Ling uses the art of teleportation to escape, but spent spiritual power in the process, making him increasingly unstable. More use could send him into a rampage and cause cataclysmic disaster. Wang Ling calls his dad, who darts from the loo to his son's rescue by flying swordboard. He'll be able to replace the talisman before Wang Ling loses control. In the arena, the kids from 59 have a laugh at the awe of the 60s students. There's a briefing on the competition, which is a 5-on-5 battle. Instructor Zai sarcastically notes they would have held the event on 60s campus, but they seem to be having some security issues at the moment. Wang Ling is lost in the halls of 59, but Sword Spirit identifies a doorway. While in the arena, School 60 meets He Bufang, the 5th member of 59's team. He approaches Sun Rong with an offer to switch teams, but she's not impressed. Neither is Chen Ko. As Chen Ko makes a move, He Bufang throws him, disintegrating his arm. Wang Ling just happens to step through that door and catches Chen Ko, recreating his arm faster than anyone can see. Administrator Wang realizes He Bufang practices the way of negative energy. Is it Froggy who observes that Wang Ling is steps away from levels of negative energy that would doom the mortal realm? Chen Ko starts to warn him about He Bufang just as Wang Ling matter-of-factly takes a call from his dad. He tells him he can't get away at the moment. While Wang Ling's dad gets a ticket outside, perhaps for speeding, back in the arena, He Bufang ponders Wang Ling's power in repairing Chen Ko's arm. He'd used the grand art of restoration, which consequently pushes Wang Ling further toward losing control. He Bufang reads Wang Ling's power with a punch to the face, but learns he's void of spiritual force. Wang Ling manages to whip He Bufang's rose away unnoticed and passes it to Sun Rong. Instructor Zai proposes a rest in their prep areas. Meanwhile, Shadow Faction leader had been watching from the ceiling, and Zhu Yi finally figures out the plot, heading over to 59. As 60 heads to their break room, Wang Ling redirects to find 59 only limited edition sweet potato raccoon ramen, and He Bufang notices a girly shadow leader, tossing her some cheesy lines. She tries to pretend she's a new student, but he doesn't fall for it, which leads to a battle. Wang Ling happens upon them to witness Shadow Leader torturing He Bufang. He drops his precious ramen as she spots him too. Wang Ling and He Bufang land on the roof of an abandoned school building hog-tied with immortal binding rope. Shadow Leader believes He Bufang must have some talent as he saw through her student-like disguise. As she stomps on an unruffled Wang Ling, we're reminded that he's a powder keg soon to explode. Luckily, the booting awakens Spiritual Sword. While believing she's kicking a force value 5, Shadow Leader sees him as a convenient way to draw out Sun Rong. Assisted by the jabbing, his talisman breaks, and now Wang Ling must control his emotions on his own, without the seal's support. As his power notches up, Spiritual Sword proves he's more than a pretty slice of wood. He shouts that ramen is on sale, and instantly pulls Wang Ling back to himself, even with a shoe in his face. In a meeting room, schools 59 and 60 are still insulting each other. He Bufang, with a noticeably full head of hair, enters to exclaim that Wang Ling has been kidnapped. We see the real scalped one is still on the roof. The driver consoles his prisoners that they'll be able to go home once Sun Rong is dead because his boss has occupational ethics. He Bufang pitches himself as a recruit for their team at the same time assessing the jailer. He makes a tactical error in underestimating the old guy. Inside, the fake He Bufang shares the terrible story of Wang Ling's abduction. Zhu Yi figures it must be Shadow Faction, and Isabelle scans for sources of power, identifying the hideout. Sun Rong's security team quickly bundles her away from harm, but she escapes, ready to go after Wang Ling. Fully aware that she's the target, she's ready to rescue her most precious friend. As a completely in charge Sun Rong leads her guard out, 59 decides to use this opportunity to observe their opponent's combat technique. Back on the roof, He Bufang notes that Wang Ling must have a higher force value than 5 as he'd repaired Chen Ko's arm instantly. But a relaxed Wang Ling snoozes from his crucifix, safe in the knowledge that he won't need to compete. They'll have to cancel. As He Bufang calls for help, the driver clocks him down into the room below. Sun Rong and team charge ahead while 59 follows, noting that the fake He Bufang seems a bit odd. The guards plus team 60 launch onto the grounds as the driver shows off his true power. Meanwhile, Wang Ling's dad is still trying to enter the campus. He watches sparks fly through the air, likely presuming it's caused by Wang Ling. As Sun Rong is about to be defeated, Wang Ling turns back time, lets He Bufang get stomped, then faces off with the driver. He's hoisted up as Sun Rong arrives on scene with Zhu Yi already in place to take the credit. As an immortal checks the area, Wang Ling asserts the hole in the roof was there before he arrived. Spiritual Sword pops up through the hole to check the plan, but Wang Ling sends him back below to keep watch over He Bufang. With a 59 team member out of commission, surely they'll forfeit. But Tang Jings has already snagged the fake He Bufang to assure their team is ready. The contestants relinquish their phones, ready for combat to begin. Wang Ling wonders how He Bufang got away, but sucks it up, ready to participate if he must. On the other side, Isabella collects data on Team 60 to share with Tang Jings. Fake He Bufang Shadow Leader eyes her opportunity to kill Sun Rong in the field. As the team disappears into the fighting area, Wang Ling's dad races toward his son, but misses him. Zhu Yi takes the opportunity to glad hand his master's father, who explains on the QT why he's there. As leader of the Immortals, he instantly grasps the situation. Wang Ling's parents apply his first talisman and observe that it locks away his emotions. While in the arena, School 59 lands together thanks to Isabel. She also confirms the locations of the scattered Team 60. 59 chooses their targets and head into battle, while Tang Jings captures the Altar of Earth. He Bufang lands near Froggy 2 at the Altar of Fire, and Tang Jing says he'll settle the score with Sun Rong at the Altar of Water. Guo Hua seems to be eliminated instantly, but it's only a substitution talisman that gets shattered. Instead, he heads toward the Altar of Wood to help Wang Ling fight Liang Fei. Isabel takes the job of fighting Ko Chen at the Altar of Metal. Hunger Games style announcements confirm when an altar is taken as one by one, School 60 is defeated in combat. Chen Ko loses to Isabel trying to be cool as her neurosignal adapter has him punching himself. Watching on screen, Administrator Wang notes that the destruction won't kill any of the students, but they will suffer the pain. Liang Fei finds a face-down Wang Ling, so heads straight to the altar to capture it. Wang Ling seems happy to lie there, but gets up when he hears Froggy muttering about needing just a little power to break free. Guo Hua enters the scene to attack Liang Fei. At the Altar of Water, Sun Rong battles Tang Jings, who taunts her about her ancestors, disciples of his ancestors. At the Altar of Fire, fake He Bufang wins, then heads to support Tang Jings. Chen Ko falls and Isabel captures the Altar of Metal. As Sun Rong faces two opponents, she considers escape options. With a sparkle comes a force that whips the wind and breaks the ice created by Tang Jings. It miraculously gives Sun Rong the opportunity to escape by water. Tang Jings notes a significant negative energy, but sends He Bufang after Sun Rong while he captures the Altar of Water. He reminds the fake He Bufang who's in charge during the games and promises a wish if he plays along. Capturing a fifth altar to 60's 0 score awards 59 with a bonus called Speed Up. But it stops when 59 captures the Altar of Wood. As Sun Rong escapes toward Guo Hua, she hears that Wang Ling has merged with Froggy. On screen, a dog-headed figure rises from the altar. At the Altar of Wood, Guo Hua fights Liang Fei with his mouth cannon in a battle of words versus swords. Froggy sneaks up to catch some of the excess energy, but steps back when he spots Wang Ling. Liang Fei kicks bystander Wang Ling to the side, and he dramatically falls to the grassy ground, waiting for the battle to wrap. This annoys Guo Hua, who turns to insult Wang Ling and comes up with much better mouth cannon fodder. Luckily, Liang Fei is standing just in front of Wang Ling, having to chop his way clear. Guo Hua keeps flinging the insults toward Wang Ling, whose emotions are starting to awaken. Surprisingly, he begins to take umbrage. As his control begins to shatter, Froggy jumps on Wang Ling, biting his neck to absorb the negative energy. To everyone's shock, they do seem to merge, giving Wang Ling the ability to use his force freely. With a gentle tap, he sends Liang Fei flying and captures the altar. At the control center, Professor Wang accepts the credit for teaching Wang Ling that amalgamation trick. School 59 panics a bit over losing their shutout as they figure out that Wang Ling isn't as he appears. However, as he captures the altar of fire from 60 and heads to the next one, Tang Jings works a strategy and moves his players over comms. Wang Ling wakes Chen Ko at the altar of metal, who asks about the woman who toyed with his feelings. With newfound zeal and asking if Chen Ko was on a date, he takes the altar for 60. Chen Ko is diverted by Wang Ling's appearance, now that he's combined with Froggy, but he gets that single men need a dog as companion. When Chen Ko realizes that Wang Ling has turned the competition in their favor, he gives him a hearty hug. In return, he receives Wang Ling's first ever smile. Militantly organized 59 immediately retrieves 2 of the altars, flipping the score back to 4-1. Wang Ling latches on to their tactic and spots that he can't win the game alone. But Sun Rong taps in with an insightful plan. She and Guo Hua head to the altar of fire, and now we see her unique skill. It seems that she can act like water, propelling Guo Hua as a wave. While he distracts Liang Zheng, Sun Rong sneaks toward the altar. Elsewhere, Wang Ling captures the altar of water, while at the altar of earth, fake He Bufang chuckles, recalling the promise that he can do as he pleases as long as School 59 wins. At the altar of metal, fake He Bufang approaches while Tang Jings confirms winning is the only rule. Backtrack to a childhood moment with Sun Rong versus Tang Jings at a family social. Precocious kids, they quote ancients and trill French in a battle of talents. The blade fight in their imagination represents the 1,000-year rivalry of their ancestors still raging on with their play-nice families today. On the battlefield, Guo Hao unleashes his mouth cannon on Liang Zheng, who trips, allowing the words to zip over his head. Instead, they fly on towards Sun Rong, pushing her back from the altar of fire. Oops. She recalls her father's indignation at the insult of the Tang family using forbidden arts. At that moment, Tang Jings arrives on scene, harassing Liang Zheng for not having finished things, spurring him on. Guo Hao manages to thwart him with a wall of rock, but Tang Jing's spirit sword knocks it down, letting Liang Zheng through. Sun Rong flings swords at Liang Zheng, who fends them off. She also lands one in the altar, but the countdown doesn't start without a player's hands on the sword. Instructor Zai comments that Sun Rong looks to be attempting to cheat. Tang Jing's spirit sword confronts Sun Rong, breaking her weapon, but she escapes. Tang Jings mocks her for losing the opportunity to win the altar and counts his chickens, claiming they have 4 of the 5. We hear how they plan to maintain the 4, including keeping track of Wang Ling. Sun Rong notes they must win the altar of fire, but Tang Jings smirks at her, believing it impossible. She instructs Ko Chen over comms to hold his ground as He Bufang closes in, attacking with force. He Bufang hits a nerve, taunting him with the presumption of past failures, but Chen Ko turns his recollections of training humiliations with his father to his advantage. At the observation screen, Zhu Yi notices that He Bufang hasn't shown his full capability yet. On sight, He Bufang latches on to why it's called the altar of metal. The leaves can cut like knives, and he proceeds to hurl them at Chen Ko in volume. Back at the altar of fire, Sun Rong tells Guo how to leave things to her, so he steps back a few paces, then secretly calls on his spirit sword, Ghost Tooth. Tang Jings continues to mock Sun Rong, and she recalls losing to him as a kid. She clashes head-on with his spirit sword. Flashback to a conversation about Ghost Tooth and its powerful capability but one-use limit. Meanwhile, bored Isabel keeps an eye on Wang Ling as he guards the altar of water. No action there. Elsewhere, Chen Ko is nearing his limit with He Bufang. Wang Ling's dad implores them to stop the games before people get hurt. He refers to all people, but without giving Wang Ling away. Sun Rong fights on, as does Chen Ko as he takes kicks to the head. He reminds himself that he promised he'd hold the altar. As He Bufang starts the process of retaking the altar of metal, Chen Ko is revitalized with giant energy-infused arms. At the altar of fire, a massive fire phoenix appears. Sun Rong and Guo Hao's plan to distract and filter power toward Ghost Tooth worked. Sun Rong sacrifices her spirit sword to Ghost Tooth just as Chen Ko blasts He Bufang from the altar of metal. 60 captures the altar of fire, totaling at 3-2. Then Wang Ling wins the altar of wood, making it 4-1. In anger, Shadow Faction leader bursts from her disguise as He Bufang, and we end on another cliffhanger. The strategy session resumes with Sun Rong sharing the plan. Then we zip to Isabel setting her spell to watch over Wang Ling as School 60 captures the Altar of Fire. Isabel realizes several altars are now in danger as School 60 suddenly leads 4-1. Wang Ling quietly separates from Froggy, who takes a human form, then snags the undefended altar of wood. As Isabel tries to figure it out, she receives a big old smacker from Froggy, much to her horror. He'd turned her own detection talent on her as he's not actually human. Guo Hua heads toward Chen Kao while Sun Rong races to meet Wang Ling. Even though they have more altars presently, they're still behind School 59 by 11% as they near the finish. While all this is happening, Wang Ling's dad, still in the control room with the teachers, wonders how Wang Ling is really doing. Till now, Wang Ling had been pushing things like competitiveness, belonging, friendship, and the like to the back of his mind, seeing every feeling as he'd been taught as a matter of scale, presumably compared to his responsibility. And here it comes, until he met Sun Rong. And then, the guys. Guo Hua reaches the altar of metal to discover a beat-up, tied-up Chen Kao. Elsewhere, Froggy clues in that Wang Ling is reaching his talisman free limit and scrambles off. At the altar of Earth, still thinking, Wang Ling prepares to sink his sword, but is suddenly overcome with emotion, recalling everything that's happened since he started at School 60. Even his sword spirit, still at a distance in the school building, notices the fluctuation. As the countdown begins, he continues to ponder, sending his heart into a flurry. Just as he hesitates, about to let go of the sword and lose the altar, Sun Rong shows up and steadies him. Now 60 has 5 altars to 0. But what's more important, Wang Ling realizes that Sun Rong can calm his heart. Meanwhile, back at the altar of metal, Guo Hua seriously worries for Chen Kao's state. There's an uproar among the teachers. What about the level of protection put in place for the competitors? How is this possible? As Sun Rong teases Wang Ling about his smile, Shadow Faction leader formerly known as Fake He Bufeng finally assaults Sun Rong, forcing her spirit out of her body. And Wang Ling just loses it. His dad and Zhu Yi run to help. But Froggy leaps in, freezing time. With a roar, Wang Ling breaks free, attacking Shadow Leader. She too unfreezes with a laugh, and like a man possessed, he continues his onslaught to her barbed verbal barrage. Finally regaining his senses, Wang Ling grasps that he isn't able to save Sun Rong. Her soul had been torn away, so she's alive, but only in this frozen state. Man's best friend Froggy offers some potential solutions, but none are great options. Wang Ling chooses to start the world over, for the 5th time. Wang Ling's first 4 restarts flash by before we reach the 5th, where we left off. But restarting the world can't bring a person back to life. He quickly realizes his mistake not stopping Shadow Faction leader sooner. Even though Froggy's time freeze has given them a bit of time to think of a new solution, Wang Ling is frustrated at his lack of ability. Froggy explains how time manipulation works, but to get the desired result, it would take a good deal of power. Hang on, reversing time is against the law of nature. With a good deal of warning, Wang Ling decides that any penalty couldn't be worse than losing Sun Rong. So Froggy gives his support, once again merging. Wang Ling faces his hopeless inability to reset the world and save Sun Rong. Time reverses back to the first day at School 60 when Wang Ling is beset by upperclassmen bullies. This time Chen Kao and Guo Hua dive to the rescue. He offers the M10 yuan as safe money, but he's just as confused as they are as to why he's offering it. In class, Wang Ling reacts to a girl who seems familiar, but it's someone else. After school, he impulsively chases a limo, but finds Tang Jing's and Isabel inside. His house is the same, but the vibe is different. All in all, his new life is pretty good, but it's not the same. It's a different world. In fact, the combination of Froggy's time bend and Wang Ling's space adjustment converge to make a whole new world, rather than manipulate the previous one. Now the new world is absorbing things from the old one, destroying what was left behind. Meanwhile, in the underworld, the newly crowned leader ponders what to do with sudden arrival of Sun Rong. Discovering that she's the ancestor of her own master, there's a moment of panic. They tell a confused Sun Rong that she must be dreaming. In the new world, the guys head to the amusement park, Heavenly Paradise. They stop to have their fortunes told now with Zhu Yi as the attraction operator. It breaks at Wang Ling's turn. What could that say about his future? The gods of the underworld realize they need to fix things to stop the world's destruction and quickly send Sun Rong back to the living. On Earth, Spirit Sword is shocked to see Sun Rong revive. As they continue through the amusement park, Wang Ling suffers from deja vu. But the guys remind him that they're there not to think, but to have fun. Spirit Sword gets Sun Rong up to speed on the happenings, including Wang Ling starting a new world in an attempt to get her back. They decide they must wake him up to set things right. At the Ferris wheel, Wang Ling finally breaks down, realizing someone important isn't there. Memories flicker in his mind. Sun Rong is ready to help Wang Ling by using Spirit Sword, even as he cautions her. She tells him that for a girl, to love is to destroy the world. Sun Rong and Spirit Sword save Wang Ling. As he has visions of her and their shared past, she breaks into his world. Chen Ko encourages him to go, as she's waiting for him. Time does turn back, returning everyone to the games and the moment where Chen Ko pushes Fake He Bufang from the altar of metal. Just as He Bufang emerges as Shadow Faction leader, a giant hand knocks her several feet into the ground. That's our Wang Ling, immediately remedying the situation before things spiral. And it's School 60 for the win to cheers and shouts all around. Before Sun Rong can reach Wang Ling to celebrate and have their moment like in the past, she's detained by news reporters wanting a soundbite. Froggy consoles Wang Ling as they flash back to the big decision. In that moment, after everything they'd done so far, they still needed to make a choice in order to save the old world. It would mean Sun Rong losing her otherworld memories. Sun Rong assures that even if she doesn't remember them saving each other, her feelings will still bring her back to Wang Ling. Wang Ling and Sun Rong decide together to put the world to rights. At the games, Wang Ling's dad arrives with a new talisman. Froggy notes that once his emotions are again sealed, it will be tough to have a relationship with Sun Rong. But Wang Ling chooses world peace and receives the talisman. We close on Wang Ling once again alone. After the credits, we get a quick glimmer of Wang Ling asking Froggy to rewind to a moment with the Shadow Faction chauffeur and a little rarely seen smile from Wang Ling.